Chris, how about at Infoblox? I would imagine that there's a lot of priorities. You see a lot of priorities, again, across that landscape. What are you seeing out there, and what can we expect over the next few months and next year?
I think both Jim and Venus had summed up a couple of points quite well. One is obviously the work from home and what is no longer new and just is normal moving forward. But Venus talked about something with respect to business driving security, and that's true. It's always been that way. The challenge has been the introduction of technology or business here, and security has been a long tail behind it, and moving that up much closer to the event of changing your business model, implementing new technologies like the Air Force is doing, and so on and so forth. You need to be able to have security be part of the initial conversation, is the key point of that. From our perspective, as Jim had said, was work from home folks, and understanding that all of us or most of us are teleworking right now, even for this panel. I'm relying upon a Soho router, that's less than $200, and that's securing my home network, which has, somewhat trusted devices, but have zero security on them. My kids have devices over my left shoulder that never had security built in. How does that affect my corporate systems that I'm working with here? And from our perspective, Infoblox manages on-premise and the virtual aspects of DNS, DHCP, and IP address management combined with the threat intel. But because we also manage the DNS, we have the ability to implement that as a control point. And a lot of organizations that we come across aren't utilizing that for anything other than a service availability feature. And so we actually had that as a stopping point for all DNS traffic. And there was an FCW interview about a month ago, and the NSA cybersecurity director said, and I quote, "Secure DNS can reduce malware attacks by 92% on a given network." If you know that DNS is a gap and all you're doing is logging it or looking at it after the fact and not using that as a control point to stop, this is a gaping hole in your network. And if you can prevent 92% of attacks just within that one control point, why aren't you doing something about it? And that's the biggest question that I'm asking CISOs around the agencies that we support is, how do, if you know that you could do something, if you know that you can, change the lock on this door and make it harder to tamper with, you can secure that soft point. Why are you not doing it?